I recently posted something online that was really an epiphany to me, and that is that understanding racism has more about knowing yourself than finding out about others. You know, we always think that when someone's different than us, that we have to lean into knowing more about them. Hence the questions and the assumptions and the stress that comes with figuring out someone else, especially as an adult. What's going on around you is about what's going on inside you and what your approach is to the differences that you see in others. There's 3 areas that you need to understand about yourself before you can really start to communicate and connect with others. The first thing that you need to figure out is, where did you learn what you know? Who taught you how to approach others, what it means when you see someone who is different than you, what the rules of engagement are about romance, about friendship, about working with people, about the characteristics of the people that you see. Did your religion teach you about differences? I remember when I was young that I liked this boy at my church, and we liked each other for a time. And then he told me that his family would never be okay with us dating. And that was a rule that he had been taught within his religion, within his family, where I did not have that restriction. It's important what you're taught, and those ideas that you're given as a young person live on as you get older. They really don't change, they just deepen. Think about what your parents taught you, what your religion taught you, what your classmates taught you, what your neighbors taught you. There are important people in your life, there are important institutions in your life that have shaped the way that you think about race and culture, diversity and differences, and what you should accept as natural and concrete and what is changeable. The second area I want you to focus on is your reactions, those knee-jerk reactions that are based partly in your experiences and what you learned. So when you look at someone different than you, do you feel liked? Do you feel accepted? Are you excited to learn more about someone? Do you see color or difference as a barrier to communication? When you see someone brown, what do you naturally think? When you see someone who's dressed a certain way, what are the assumptions that you're making? What do you wonder about other people? Where do you feel like you can't connect in your understanding? And what are your natural reactions? Be honest about it. If you're naturally afraid of someone who's different than you when you don't know them, this is a moment for you to acknowledge that feeling, because it most certainly is impacting the way you are reacting to the changing circumstances around you. The final place for you to really dig in and understand yourself is in priorities. We can't have everything all the time. Everything is always bumping up against each other. So when you see the phrase Black Lives Matter, if you feel like that's bumping up against another priority, maybe it's your own personal priority that you want to make sure that you're not left behind. Maybe you have a desire for order, and that order is more important than digging into the chaos of remedying justice. I know that it might sound bad, but this is not a time for you to look good. What you want to do is be vulnerable and honest with yourself so that you understand what's important to you, and then you can consciously talk about things that are related to diversity. At the end of the day, what I'm hoping is that if you more deeply understand yourself, if you're able to truly acknowledge what you're thinking, it'll be easier for you to shape the dialogue that's going on in your head. When you're looking at your social media feed, if you don't understand why you think what you think, you'll be driven by fear and stress and anxiety. The changes don't have to be so hard. If you acknowledge where you've learned something, then you can decide to fill in the gap. If you're able to see where you're reacting, you might be able to inform your brain of the truth of the differences between people and intentionally gather positive information so that you're not just naturally reacting negatively if that's the case. And I want you to know something. Although it may feel like these priorities are always bumping up against each other, it is possible for us to more fully understand each other and make room for each other, for everyone to be successful. I know it sounds optimistic, but I really believe that that is the truth. If you want to attain equality, if you want to fight racism, if you want to embrace diversity, start with yourself. Start understanding what you think, who you are, and then you'll be able to take the next step, which is to communicate and connect with people who are different than you.